guy put the tiles on backwards and literally.
What?
Yes, it was like a mosaic tile, and they literally started popping off one by one. It was absolutely hysterical. It was like the popcorn. Like all of a sudden, bing, bing. I was like, holy cow, what's happening in here? They put the tile on backwards.
What's the 5 Ps? Do you remember it?
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
There you go. It doesn't matter how much money we get. If we don't close, it's no money, right? So no close is no money. I'm everything that I am because of my dad's death. And I wouldn't be as successful without his death.
Hi, I'm Sophia Clopus with the Clopus Stratton team at Berkshire Hathaway. And this is Tina Georgopolous.
Yeah.
And Tina is a wonderful rehabber, construction. Tina, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. I am a handy lady and general contractor. I am based mainly on the northwest side, the northern suburbs right now. I used to be in Chicago. I mainly do stuff on the north side. I just moved about a year ago.
Okay, so you're no longer working in the city proper?
No.
Not so much.
Not so much. No.
So tell us a little bit about how you actually got started as a handy lady. I like that. Not a handy man, a handy lady.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell us about how did you decide to get started in that?
It's a funny story. This is my 5th business, and the previous one I had a factory. We manufactured Jell-O products.
Jell-O?
Yeah, egg-based Jell-O products for the Hispanic market.
Cool.
There were some issues with cold chain distribution. We had some recalls. Long story short, I had to close the business down, and I lost everything. And I was, sulking in bed, and I didn't want to get out of bed, and throwing myself a little pity party. And I said, well, I need to get out of the house, so let me try this thing called TaskRabbit.
We use TaskRabbit all the time.
Oh, it's great.
I love it.
It's great. And the
plug for TaskRabbit.
Right. I know.
We have handy lady.
So I started doing simple things, I don't care. I just needed to get out of the house. Let me mow your lawn.
And make a little money.
Exactly. But I needed a purpose. I needed something. So I was mowing lawns and cleaning gutters, and somebody asked me, hey, can you mount a TV? And I said, yeah, of course. I know how to mount a TV. I can mount a TV. Can you recaulk my bathtub? Can you, install this vanity? And just slowly, I just kept acquiring more tools and skills and building a client base. And it was an accident,
So, but you were self-taught. What did you go on, my nephews? They live for YouTube. I mean, you ask them anything. Oh, hold on, I'm going to go YouTube it.
You can learn anything on YouTube.
So is that?
I'm convinced
is that what
you could learn open heart surgery on YouTube.
On YouTube. Okay, so you learned a lot on YouTube?
Yes, YouTube and reading and talking to people
that had the skills that you could lean on.
Yeah, exactly. But honestly, there's just so much information at your fingertips. There's no excuse for anybody to say they don't know how to do anything.
Well, you could tell your Uncle Frank that. Tina's also my niece, and my husband is her mother's brother, and we argue about changing light bulbs. So you could shame your uncle. Okay. So you started that whole thing, but I mean, I think from knowing and loving you've absolutely grown your trade into full-blown rehab. I mean, I was talking to a client of yours yesterday, and she showed me the work that you did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Spraying the kitchen cabinets.
Oh, Amanda, yes.
Yeah, Amanda's house. I mean, it looked beautiful, and obviously you did a great job because from what I could tell, they got a really great price for their property.
All because of me, obviously.
All because of you, yes.
The clincher was the cabinets.
Well, she said they had their inspection yesterday, and there really wasn't anything. So obviously, you know what you're doing, and I think that probably might be a great segue into, what's the worst thing you've ever walked into when you've gone in to do a rehab? Is there one thing that sticks out or a couple things? I mean, I know I've seen some real crazy things, being in real estate for 22 years.
I mean, you're talking, the stuff that I see, it's I don't know, where do I begin? I've seen professional, what we would call professional property management companies.
Oh.
I've seen them take mailers, like those garbage like pizza things and coupons, whatever, to cover up a hole on the outside of a building with like foam.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
And they would charge and say that, it's repaired,
Okay.
I've seen...
Not foolproof.
No. Yeah. I've seen, like, you go, bathrooms not waterproofed at all. People putting the wrong type of material on tile to where, it looks good for literally 5 minutes, and then they run the shower and the tiles are falling off.
Oh, God. That happened at our house.
See?
The guy put the tiles on backwards and literally...
What?
Yes. It was like a mosaic tile, and they literally started popping off one by one. It was absolutely hysterical. It was like the popcorn. Like all of a sudden, it was bing, bing. I was like, holy cow, what's happening in here? They put the tile on backwards. And so the caulk part that was holding the tile was actually attached to the paper that was supposed to be on the outside protecting the face of the tile.
Oh,
yes,
no.
This did happen at my house 20 years ago, but yes.
Jesus.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, like the other thing would be like failed home inspections where, you have, this is an old city. We have old houses. There should never be a report that's under 40 pages.
There should never be a report under 40?
No. I mean, you will find something wrong.
That's their job.
Of course. But you will find something wrong in new construction. Like there's not...
Sometimes more.
I agree.
Yeah.
But like, when you have a report that's 30 pages long for, 3,000 square foot home that's over 100 years old, I walked in and I would see visible water damage, you could see it with your eyes. You don't need an infrared camera that was missed. Staircases that, like the boards were literally, they were sinking in. Even crazy stuff like that. And you would think that would show up. Unfortunately, a lot of people, they don't do a good job of picking their team when they're buying a home. Which is why, I really respect you guys and what you do. You guys really know your stuff. And, you protect your clients. And that's what I want to do. When somebody invites you into their home, they invite you into their life, you have a really huge responsibility to do the best you can and protect them, give them the right information. So
yeah, for most people, their home is their largest investment. For
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a very serious matter. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room.
Oh no.
What happened here?
Everybody, I don't know if they could see it.
You could see it.
Well, I was at a house in Barrington, and it was a tall house. And unfortunately, they had a lot of water damage coming in, and we were trying to figure out where it was coming from. And we determined, there was some caulking missing from windows. Long story short, I threw up my 26-foot ladder on this newly asphalted driveway that was very slick, and
oh yeah, it rained yesterday.
And the oils must have mixed. I don't know. It slipped out from under me. I should have jumped off and rolled off, but I was just caught by surprise.
Held on for dear life.
I did. I landed flat, and I landed like a cat, I guess, like on my hands and knees, and it didn't really hurt that badly.
Right.
To begin with, probably because of the adrenaline.
Sure, of course, yeah. Only.
But yeah, as the day went on,
thank God you didn't break your teeth.
Yeah.
That's why I always think about save the teeth.
Well, you could always get new ones, right?
Yeah, but then they're still fake.
That's true.
Okay, but you're going to be okay.
Always. Yeah.
Always going to be okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, tell us, what do you find? I mean, I always talk to my clients, my younger clients especially, like sweat equity. Like they're, when they're buying their first house, they're always, everybody's always budget conscious, but I find that first-time home buyers are more budget conscious than others, just because they're, scraping their pennies together to buy, which is so great, instead of renting. And I always tell them, I'm like, you guys, buy something that needs a little work.
100%.
Because you can get the work done for less than what you're going to pay for it on the open market. So what do you think, or what are your favorite things, or when someone hires you and says, Tina, come on in, tell me, what can we do to this space? They've closed on it. I mean, I know what I always think like is going to sell the most, but what do you think is the greatest thing to do to a house to update it?
Bathroom and kitchen.
Bathroom and kitchen. Okay, well, those are the obvious.
Yeah.
But the kitchen, so for example, I saw your client's kitchen, Amanda, yesterday.
Yes.
And she didn't need to take down all of the cabinets and
Right,
replace the
refinishing.
cabinets. You just were able to refinish them, right?
Yes.
So tell us about that process, because some people think they just take a paintbrush.
No.
Yeah, right? But this is
No.
what happens. I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a place and they're like,
Don't
oh,
do
well,
it.
we refinished the cabinets. I'm like, no. That looks like a 2-year-old took a paintbrush and did one of these jobbers.
Yes.
So why don't you sort of explain the actual process of painting kitchen cabinets? Because it's not as
Same
easy as 1,
applies
2,
to
3.
doors. Don't just
Okay.
do it. And especially, and I want to make a PSA, I guess. In this beautiful woodwork city that we have, especially if you have an older building, you have this beautiful original woodwork. Do it right. Don't hire somebody who's going to give you the cheapest price, because they're going to come in and they're not going to use an alkyd based paint. They're going to use the cheapest production paint they have, and they're going to attack it with paintbrushes, and then you're just going to have brush marks all over this beautiful 6-inch crown and
Right, the beautiful old moldings.
exactly, it'll ruin it. Anyway, for the cabinets, what happens with cabinets is that not only are they in the kitchen and they're being exposed to greases and oils,
Yeah.
there's also grease and oil on your fingertips. So whenever you touch a cabinet, you're depositing your oils on the cabinet. Now, you have to remove all of the oils from any surface that you're painting. That includes walls. So
Okay.
you have to prep. You have to use trisodium phosphate to
Okay.
get rid of oils and deposits.
Okay.
If anybody has ever washed or tried to polish something with like a pledge or like an
Yeah.
orange based oil,
It's terrible.
it's the worst thing.
It's terrible.
Yeah, because it doesn't come off
No.
and it'll create fisheye on your finished product, which is those little bubbles,
Right. Uh-huh.
And when you're looking at cabinets and you're painting them, they need to
Be flawless.
be flawless. Yes.
Especially if it's a vertical surface and light hits it and you're just seeing it all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you need to sand it, not all the way down to remove the finish, but you do either need to degloss it or get rid of any kind of scratches or imperfections. You need to wash it with TSP to get rid of any kind of grease or oil. You need to prime it, ideally with
Wait, what's TSP? I've never heard this before.
trisodium phosphate.
Okay.
So it comes in a powder form, but you can also get a liquid substitute. It's
Okay.
the best thing for cleaning. Tip for all the homeowners: the best thing for cleaning grease in the kitchen, ceilings, walls. It's a no rinse kind of a deal.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
And
put
then
that on the shopping list.
There you
Yeah.
go. But protect your hands when
Okay.
you use it. So after that, you have to prime it, and you can't just use like a Stix or a water-based primer, because the tannins will bleed through from the wood if you're doing a light color, or it doesn't matter. You need either an oil-based primer or you need a shellac-based primer.
Okay. So
And-
this process on like an average size kitchen, like this prepping and getting rid of all of the oils.
Days.
This is days.
Days.
Plural. Okay.
Yeah. And this is in my like professional workshop where I set it up and I have a table. Like if this is a homeowner, this is going to take them longer to do it.
But
properly.
I'm saying for you. So
this will be a week.
This is a week just to priming and prepping.
I know the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So you remove the cabinets, you make sure they're all labeled, because even if they're the same size, they're not. It's not going to.
It's like a puzzle.
It's a puzzle.
Yeah,
100%. You clean it, or you sand it. You clean it. You prime it, and then you have to spray it. You have to spray it.
Yeah.
I mean, you could maybe get away with rolling it with a foam roller, but it's just the result is not going to be the same.
The smoothest finish is always a spray.
Yes. And then
No matter dark or lights or anything.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can't, I mean, you could buy like a very affordable sprayer and do it yourself, but you're talking about keeping
Dust off of everything too, right? Isn't dust a big problem?
It's a huge problem.
Yeah.
It's a huge
In
problem.
cabinets. Okay.
With everything, you know,
Right.
when you go to paint your car,
Yeah.
same thing, you know, they have.
Most people don't paint their car, but
That's true.
when you go to paint your car.
Well, when you have if you
Paint
have an
your walls.
accident, yes.
When you paint your walls, the
well,
dust.
you can't really see it, but yeah, you
Well,
know.
no, that's always a discussion. When someone is doing stuff, they're always like, well, do you do the floors first or do you do the walls first?
Right.
If you do the floors first, then you possibly have dust all over the walls.
Well, you got to clean the walls.
Yes.
Yeah, I always do at least.
Yeah.
You know, I mop.
So you like to, the painting of the kitchen cabinets, I think that's like a huge return on investment.
Huge, and make sure you're using a quality paint because some things you cannot touch up. You know what I
You
mean?
can't touch up.
You cannot. Some paints, especially. I don't want you to. Are we allowed to say brands that we
Yeah, of
don't
course.
like?
Sure.
Okay, Sherwin-Williams, atrocious, the worst. Do not use
No
them.
touch-up paint.
No, and also I find that when you get it wet, it starts to streak a little bit, especially if there's any kind of like salt-based cleaner.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Noted. All right. So the cabinets and then the countertops, right? Do you mean the
Countertops are huge.
Are
They make a
huge.
huge difference, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
You know, and there's so many things you can do. You can
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like $50,000 marble.
No.
It can be a quartz.
quartz, and sometimes that's out of somebody's price range, you know. But you can do if you want to DIY it, you could do a cast-in-place cement.
Oh.
You know, it's affordable. Like you can do it. It's
And that's sturdy for a kitchen?
oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, there
yeah.
you go.
Super
There's a nice
sturdy.
option.
If you wanted like a warmer look, you could do the butcher block. type of
I
deal.
love a butcher block countertop.
Me too, especially on like an island where it seems like it fits in more.
It does. It's appropriate, right?
Yeah. And then there's so many options. Even the Formica now, it can be deceiving.
It did have a really bad rap for
It did.
a very long time. That Formica. And then you know what I always love is the hardware, because I feel like the hardware is the jewelry.
It makes
right?
yes,
I
it makes
just
the room.
love hardware and faucets, the fittings, the fixtures. I think this can be repeated also, like this same conversation for the bathrooms.
100%.
Right. I mean, the bathrooms have gotten so pretty,
They have,
right? It's
yeah.
just, it's behind a door. I mean, the powder room is like the greatest place ever.
Right.
Love putting up like fun wall coverings. I tell my clients, they always say, do I have to take down the wall covering in the powder room? I'm like, don't touch it. It's beautiful. Okay. So yeah, those are some great ideas.
The one thing I will say about redoing a bathroom, it's if you have any kind of like older plumbing, if you have galvanized, if you still have galvanized,
Yeah.
and you're gonna redo your bathroom, replace
Those
it.
are the water lines, the plumbing lines,
Right.
when she's saying galvanized.
Switch to copper, because taking off, like if there's any ever kind of leak or anything that goes wrong, you're just gonna end up having to remove all of the beautiful work that you just did
That's a great point.
to replace
Yeah.
it. And a lot of people think, oh, well, I'm going to save money here because they want all of their budget to go towards the flashy.
The pretty.
Yeah, the thing that they
Yeah.
think is going to sell. But honestly, the stuff you don't see is sometimes far more important.
Oh, sure. I always call it the non-sexy stuff.
The non-sexy
Like
stuff.
when I have a house
absolutely.
that needs work.
Yes.
But the clients have redone the roof. They've replaced all of the appliances. They've tuck pointed. I'm like, listen, all the non-sexy stuff is done. Now you can like put your stuff on it.
Yes.
But that stuff is actually almost, I mean, unless you're doing $100,000 fridge, right? But I mean, that stuff is as expensive.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, you don't see it,
Well,
but you
the
certainly
problem-
appreciate it.
Well, you appreciate it when that's the thing. You don't know that something's there until it goes wrong.
Right.
Just like your car. Like it's not a car until something goes wrong, and then it becomes
That's
a
not
car.
a problem. Yeah.
It's the thing that gets you from here to there. You don't really think about how it works It's the same thing with your plumbing and your electrical. You know, if you still have cloth wrapped wires, well, I'm sorry, like you're gonna have an issue in the future.
Right.
You might have a fire. If you have, you know, have you seen those? The circuit breakers?
The circuit breakers, sure, yeah.
That's
for sure there's cloth wiring in there, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cloth wiring is what they used to use before they did metal tubing. And a lot of old homes, I've sold many houses that still have cloth wiring. And the process to remove is arduous, but definitely worth it. They're literally pulling the lines out.
It's not that bad, to be honest. It's really not, you know. But more importantly, you know, make sure when you buy your home, there's been boxes that have been recalled. Literally, you're not supposed to have them.
Oh, electric boxes. Yes. Right.
And, you know, your insurance won't cover it if there's a fire. So make sure. Some inspectors don't know that, you know, especially younger inspectors who aren't familiar.
Right. Yeah, we've heard that about the electric boxes.
I'm sure you know, but like for younger real estate agents maybe who aren't very familiar.
I do think a good quality inspector is really important. I think it's
oh my God, yeah, your first line of defense.
Yeah, your inspector and having an attorney who will absolutely fight for what your inspector found. The real estate agent is involved in that part, but the attorney really writes the letter to hit home. Yeah. Okay, those are all great things. Do you have anything else you want to add about the home process?
I guess the only thing I would say is that most issues with homes, they're a result of either ignorance or procrastination.
Oh, when something goes wrong.
When something goes wrong. So, you know, do the best you can to keep yourself informed and stay on top of your quarterly maintenance.
Right. That's important.
Yeah, you know, clean your gutters, check your downspouts, check your caulking. You know, you're talking about something that would take you maybe an hour just to do a walk around, you know.
Right. Do you do that? Is that something?
Yeah, of course.
That you offer?
I do offer that.
You offer that as a service. Okay, well, how do people get a hold of you?
Well, you can give me a call. My number's 224-628-8295. Email me at tina@nostosgc.com or...
How do you spell that? Tina at what?
Oh, sorry. nostosgc.com or on Instagram.
Great.
Yeah. Tina.
All right, well, thanks
for
Tina G. Yeah. You'll find her. Thanks, Tina, for joining us, and we will see you all soon. Thanks.